That's a nice score for a girl.
Think you can do better?
I'll give it a shot.
Last time in this series, we took a look at a character from Stranger Things who got a lot more hate than I feel he deserved. The concept was to keep making similar videos on other characters who became undeserved punching bags of their respective media. But seeing as this is only the second episode, I want to establish early on that we aren't limited to characters. I want to be able to do entire topics, concepts, or even just ideas. But don't get me wrong, I got more character-based studies in the works, but I just want everyone on the same page here. If you're new here, be sure to check out the last episode linked in the description, and make sure to subscribe as well. I read all of the comments and try to actively engage in any debate, so I welcome any counter-arguments to whatever I say in these videos. With that out of the way, today I'm going to tackle a subject that might put me in a lot of people's crosshairs, the gaming industry. People seem to have this idea that the gaming industry is in an unsalvageable state, and that things were so much better in the past.
What is going on with gaming right now? I don't get it. I don't understand why things are this bad right now. For me, this is the worst. Easily the worst gaming has ever been, and it's not even fucking close. Like, I look to the past, at the old video games of the past that were great. And it's like, if we were creating incredible games way back then, why the fuck is gaming so bad in 2022?
When backing up this point, typically they will cherry-pick the worst games they can think of, games like Battlefield 2042, Fallout 76, Diablo Immortal, to strawman and undermine any favorable angle you may have on modern games. They'll scream things like loot boxes, microtransactions, DLC, Battle Pass, and a ton of other buzzwords to assure you that you cannot enjoy games anymore. But what if I told you, it's not nearly as grim as people make it out to be? I can cherry-pick bad games from the past and good games from modern times, and honestly it says nothing about the state of the industry. What really sparked me to make this video is the various game showcases of summer 2022. The individual presentations that fill in the void where E3 used to be. More specifically, I'm talking about people's reactions to these presentations. No matter what they show, the majority reaction in the stream chat box are people sleeping or spamming cringe. What are these people truly looking for? That everything shown falls short? The first point I need to touch on, there's no winning when it comes to gamers. The goalpost is constantly moving. They want better graphics, but want gameplay over graphics. But if your game isn't on par with the newest Call of Duty realistic visuals, mobile game looks like dog shit. They want massive open worlds, but if there's a single inch without content, it feels empty. They want highly detailed realistic AI and NPCs, but it can't have any bugs at launch. If you release it too early, rushed game, it's gonna suck. Delay it, now it's in development hell and it's gonna suck. We like old games, we want a remake of Resident Evil 4, that was the last good one. Oh wow, a remake, how lazy. These devs are so afraid to try new things and just want to sell us the same game with a new coat of paint. But if they do something new, they should have just made the remake a perfect one-to-one recreation because the original was perfect. But if they don't make quality of life changes and fix bugs, they're lazy. But if they do, they're messing up what made the original good. They want online multiplayer and content to keep the game alive, but if you add content post-launch, they say it should have been in the game to begin with and that your game is unfinished. Then they also say updates are coming out too slow and the game is dying. But now that updates are coming out, we need better balancing. Oh no, you tried to balance something by making a change the majority of the community asked for, now something else is broken and the game is dead. You should have just listened to the community, but not all of the community. Developers are so greedy and try to make games with mass appeal nowadays, but also this game looks boring and doesn't appeal to me. Generic, pay to win, too artsy, SJW, cringe, overdone, too far from its roots. Ugh, doesn't it all just make your head spin? When did people get so whiny? There are constant paradoxes of demand from the consumer, mainly because there is not one type of consumer. There are people that will be happy no matter what garbage you feed them, and there are people who will be unhappy no matter what masterpieces they receive. In the age of the internet, we all have an ego, whether we admit it or not. The most socially inept balding loser can feel like Tom Brady when expressing his distaste for cringe. It's not that somebody can't dislike these things in the industry, it's the projected feeling of superiority, as if they are above you for not enjoying them. They'll go on to make fun of the game critics and journalists, but in essence they're doing the exact same thing when constantly nitpicking every piece of gaming content for things that don't really matter. I'm not going to get into the rants about society and the effects of the internet on our perceptions, but it's important to at least acknowledge. The communities you interact with can shape your personality and level of expectations in ways you don't realize. You are not immune to peer pressure or propaganda, no matter how smart you feel on the inside. All it takes is for your favorite creator to say, "This is probably going to suck," for that negative outlook to take root in your head, even if subconsciously. So the reason that this whole tangent is important, the gaming space right now is overwhelmingly negative. If you are excited for a game, you are in the minority of people. But the good news is, it doesn't matter. Sales will speak for themselves. And if you enjoyed a game, it doesn't matter what strangers say on the internet. Problem is, not many people see it that way. That optimism can be ripped away from you until you're nothing more than a complaining zombie. Strangers on the internet will spread their bleak perspective and beat it into your head until you start to compromise and eventually agree. It's not just games either. Nostalgia and generational envy apply to a broad array of topics. There's too much pressure on developers to make games perfectly aligned with such nitpicky demands from the players, and it's often to the point where fun and art are an afterthought to meeting every industry checkmark. There are many games that have sucked recently, but we also have gotten fantastic games as well. You cannot give a blanket assessment of the entire industry because there are just far too many developers and studios making games of every genre. If you cannot find a game you enjoy released in the last 10 years, you either aren't looking hard enough or maybe something's changed within yourself. If a modern gamer plays any game you enjoyed from the past, chances are it would be written off as indie trash, old, stiff, buzzword, buzzword, buzzword. What I'm saying is this: stop looking for validation online. If you enjoyed something, you can and will find others who enjoyed it too. You'll also find people who hate it. Neither party should impact how you feel about both the product and the industry. The people militaristically spreading negativity are the people afraid to like something because it's popular. The technology for game development has improved a lot in the last 15 years, but expectations and entitlement have also risen at a rate far beyond that technology. We can sit here and once again dunk on the cherry-picked examples of bad modern games, but there's so many games being released that it's an unfair sample size to judge off of. I'd argue that games like Disco Elysium, Elden Ring, the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, and Deathloop are all fantastic and complete experiences without any of the issues people claim all games have. They're just as finished and polished as many beloved games of the past. But with nostalgia blinders on and a strong confirmation bias, it's easier to claim that only the biggest AAA multiplayer cash grabs represent the whole industry. Take a chill pill. Stop arguing all day on social media. At the end of the day, your money talks much more than your words. If you truly don't like a game, don't buy it. If the issues with it are as prevalent as you say they are, other people will stop buying it too. If others don't stop buying these games with microtransactions and predatory monetization, that just means there's a market for them and therefore the games will keep being made. You can legitimately ignore them and find games that don't have those issues. I promise you they exist. I understand it's hard to let go of a series you grew up with, and it sucks to see your favorite franchises become cheap slot machines, but you can't blindly buy into it just for brand recognition. If other people are funding the games you don't like, just accept that it's out of your control and let go. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe for more of these hot takes, and feel free to debate and disagree in the comments. I'm not here to make an echo chamber. I genuinely invite both sides of the discussion to the topic. Anyway, I'm going back to my 12th playthrough of Fallout New Vegas, that super buggy, poorly optimized open world game with clunky combat. I'll enjoy it for what it is, because it's fun.